You went silent, not to play games, not to punish, but because you finally realized your peace mattered more than chasing someone who couldn't see your worth. And now, something feels different. She hasn't called, she hasn't texted. But her silence, it's not the same anymore. This video is for the man who chose self-respect over desperation. For the man who let go, not out of anger, but out of discipline. Because if you've been wondering whether no contact is actually working, here's how you'll know. Let's begin. Number 1. Her silence feels heavy now. At first, silence feels like nothing. But when it starts working, it gets loud. Not for you, for her. That silence she once enjoyed, it's now filled with questions, doubts, regrets. You see, when you first went no contact, she may have thought it was temporary, a phase. Maybe she assumed you'd come back with a text, a call, or a late night, "I miss you." But that never came. And now, that same silence she once used to assert her distance has started to echo back at her. It's no longer peaceful. It's unsettling. Because she's realizing that you're not waiting at the door anymore. Meanwhile, you're not chasing, not wondering what she's doing or who she's with. You've embraced stillness. Like a Stoic, you've chosen discipline over impulse, clarity over chaos. You're not cold. You're calm. You're not punishing her. You're protecting your peace. That's a different kind of strength. One she didn't expect from you. One that now makes her question everything she thought she understood about you. And here's the part she never saw coming. Your silence isn't passive. It's intentional. Every moment you don't reach out is a reminder, not just to her, but to yourself, that you no longer place your worth in someone else's hands. That kind of silence doesn't beg. It builds. It rebuilds your self-respect, your sense of direction, your standards. Think about it. If she truly moved on, she wouldn't feel your silence. But she does. It lingers. It pulls at her thoughts when she least expects it. Maybe when she's scrolling through old messages, or when a song comes on that reminds her of your presence. Maybe she even types your name, and then deletes the message. That's how you know. Because your absence isn't just noticed, it's felt. That's what happens when no contact starts working. It's not about revenge, it's about recentering. It's about living by that timeless Stoic idea. You have power over your mind, not outside events. You stopped trying to control her decisions. You started mastering your own. And in that space, something shifts. Not just for her, but for you. Her silence becomes heavy, but yours becomes powerful. Number 2, she's lurking, not talking. No texts, but she's watching every story. She likes your post a day late. She asks mutual friends how you're doing. That's not silence, that's surveillance. She's not reaching out directly, but she hasn't really let go either. And you can feel it, can't you? That strange energy where she's close enough to be present, but distant enough to remain safe. It's subtle, but it's there, like a shadow that moves when you do. This is one of the clearest signs that no contact is working. Not because she's reaching out with words, but because your absence is creating tension. A silent pressure that builds in the spaces she thought would feel peaceful without you. When a woman is truly over you, she detaches. She deletes, blocks, forgets. She moves on with no need to check in. But when she lingers in the background, watching, liking, indirectly asking, that's not moving on. That's wrestling with doubt. And here's where Stoicism becomes your anchor. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In this moment, Being a good man means not chasing shadows, not responding to half-effort with full emotion, not breaking your silence just because she's curious. Curiosity isn't commitment, attention isn't affection, and surveillance isn't sincerity. You don't owe her breadcrumbs. You owe yourself peace. Let her watch. Let her wonder. Let her sit with the echo of your absence. Because while she's peeking into your world from behind the curtain, you're living it fully, grounded, calm, focused. That's what no contact is truly about. Not revenge, not games, but discipline. The kind of discipline that makes your silence louder than any words she expected to hear. So if you're wondering whether no contact is working, just look at her behavior. She's not reaching out, but she hasn't looked away. And in that tension, her silence filled with quiet questions, your presence felt even without speaking. You'll find your answer. Before we move forward, take a moment to really let that sink in. Her silence isn't just absence, it's observation. And your strength lies in not needing to react. That's the essence of Stoic power, being centered in a storm that isn't yours to calm. Now I want to hear from you. Have you noticed signs like this? Is she watching but not speaking? Drop a comment and share your experience, or simply type, "She hasn't looked away." And if this message resonates with where you are right now, give this video a like. Your story matters, and someone else might need to hear this too. Number 3, the past creeps back in. You're moving forward, but she's circling back, bringing up that trip, or liking a memory you posted months ago. You're no longer looking back, she is. And that shift says everything. See, silence, real silence, has a strange power. It doesn't demand attention, but it creates space. And in that space, something happens. She starts to feel what used to be muted by your presence. The certainty of your love, the consistency of your effort, the comfort of your replies. All gone. And now, without you reinforcing the connection, she's left with only the echoes. Echoes that grow louder the longer you stay silent. That's why she suddenly brings up that random trip you two took. Why she's liking an old memory you posted months ago, one you've already moved on from. It's not about the photo. It's about reminding you that she still remembers, that she's still connected to a past where you made her feel seen, steady, and chosen. But now, that past is starting to haunt her more than it hurts you. This is where your Stoic discipline speaks volumes. A man who lives by reason, not impulse, doesn't jump at breadcrumbs. He doesn't take every like or comment as an invitation. Instead, he sees clearly. These are signs, not solutions. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste time on what you cannot control." You cannot control whether she wakes up one morning flooded with regret, but you can control whether you keep walking with dignity or turn back toward what once broke your peace. You've done the hard part. You've endured the early silence, the uncertainty, the emotional withdrawal. But now you're starting to notice something subtle. The energy is shifting. She's reappearing, not directly, but emotionally. A part of her is testing the waters, hoping you'll react, hoping you'll slip. But this time, you're not that same man. You're stronger, quieter, and sharper. You no longer seek closure. You carry clarity. So yes, the past may creep in, but that doesn't mean you need to open the door. Let her reflect. Let her revisit the chapters she never thought she'd miss. That's not your job anymore. You're not here to remind her of what she lost. Life is already doing that for you. Stay grounded, brother. Let the past knock, but never let it rewrite your future. Number 4, She's posting. For you. Suddenly, she's glowing up online. But it doesn't feel authentic. It feels loud. You know the difference between expression and provocation. The carefully staged photos, the sudden captions about becoming the best version of me, the song lyrics that echo the exact things you once said to her, they're not coincidences. They're calculated. And the intended audience? You. At first, it seems like she's fine, silent, even thriving. But then the posts become more frequent, more polished, a bit too tailored to be organic. That's not growth. That's signaling. Because deep down, she knows the man she once knew is no longer watching from the same emotional seat. You're not chasing anymore. You're not validating. And that absence? It creates tension she can't resolve on her own. You see, when a Stoic man removes his energy, he reclaims his power, not through revenge or pettiness, but through presence, his own presence. He no longer leaks attention, trying to fix, explain, or impress. Instead, he remains still, composed, and unmoved. As Epictetus taught, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Her social media isn't within your control, but your reaction to it? That's your domain, and that's where your strength lies. She may post that she's happy, healed, and unbothered, but if she truly were, she wouldn't need to declare it so publicly. Genuine peace doesn't scream. It rests quietly. What you're seeing is not her moving on. It's her trying to move you, trying to spark a response, to remind you she's still there, still desirable, still winning. But a man who has truly embraced his path no longer plays that game. He knows that someone who left shouldn't have the power to pull him off course with filters and captions. Let her try to be loud. Let her try to provoke. That's not your concern. You're no longer reacting from a place of emotional hunger. You're choosing silence, not out of spite, but because it's the most honest expression of clarity and self-respect. And the more you stay centered in that truth, the more her posts become just noise in the background of your purpose-driven life. So if you're wondering whether no contact is working, pay attention. Not to what she's saying, but to why she's saying it. When her actions become louder and your silence grows heavier, that's when you know. You're no longer the one who needs closure. She is. Before we move on, take a second to sit with this. You're not the same man who once needed her attention to feel seen. You've grown quieter, but stronger. She's gotten louder, but emptier. That contrast isn't just coincidence. It's the effect of your discipline, your detachment, your clarity. So, ask yourself, what does her noise say about your silence? And more importantly, what does your silence say about you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. How have you handled moments like this? Or simply type, "Silence made me stronger." Let's keep going. It gets deeper. Number 5. Random texts start appearing. Oops, wrong person. Did you use to go to this place? Hey, just saw this and thought of you. Brother, these aren't accidents. These are breadcrumbs dressed up as coincidences. A clever strategy. Light, non-committal, easy to retract. It gives her an out if you don't respond, and a way back in if you do. And most of all, it allows her to test the waters without admitting she still cares. But let's be real here. If you truly meant nothing, there'd be no reason for these texts. People don't accidentally text someone they've forgotten. These messages are signals, weak, uncertain ones, but signals nonetheless. This is what it looks like when no contact starts working. The silence starts weighing on her. The emotional safety net she took for granted is no longer there. She doesn't hear from you. She doesn't see your name pop up. And that absence, it creates tension, uncertainty, curiosity. That's when she sends out feelers, just to see if you're still there, still receptive, still orbiting her emotional world. But you? You're not hungry for crumbs anymore. You're not waiting around for vague texts or mixed signals. You're building a life that feeds your soul through purpose, growth, and emotional clarity. What once would have derailed your day now barely disrupts your peace. Because the man you're becoming doesn't chase shadows of the past. He walks forward with presence. Think about it. A Stoic man doesn't react to every external disturbance. He doesn't grasp at moments of false hope. He observes, he understands, and then he chooses, rationally, calmly, and from a place of strength. Like Epictetus said, freedom is the ability to act rightly, not to react impulsively. That's where you are now, free, because you've reclaimed your emotional center. So when those texts come in, random, out of the blue, read between the lines. It's not about the question she asked or the wrong person excuse. It's about whether you still make her feel seen, remembered, significant. She's wondering if the door is still open. But here's the beauty of detachment. You don't have to slam the door. You just don't open it unless it aligns with your standards. Remember, this isn't about punishing her. This is about honoring yourself. When you stopped chasing, when you stopped explaining, when you stopped showing up uninvited, that wasn't rejection. That was self-respect in action. And now that she feels the silence echo, she's reaching, but not always with intention. So, stay calm. Stay clear. No contact is doing its job. Let her feel the full weight of your absence, while you stay committed to your growth. Let her breadcrumb someone else. You're building the whole damn bakery. Number 6, she mirrors your growth. Now she's into the things you love. She's sharing quotes you read, working out more, reading more, leveling up on the surface. And at first, it might catch you off guard. You scroll through her stories and see a Stoic quote you highlighted months ago. You notice she's tagging the same coffee spot you used to go to. She's suddenly into discipline, healing, leveling up. It feels familiar, maybe too familiar. But you know the truth. You didn't evolve to impress her. You didn't read Epictetus or hit the gym at 6 a.m. just so she'd notice. You didn't start journaling, practicing self-control, and chasing purpose so someone else could validate it. You did it because you got tired of living below your potential. You evolved because you had to face yourself and build someone you could respect. Someone who could stand tall, with or without applause. Now that growth has gravity, and she feels it. She might not say it out loud, but she senses that something in you shifted. You're no longer broadcasting your emotions or waiting for her reaction. You're grounded, focused, detached, not because you don't care, but because you finally learned that caring starts with you. And that shift? It creates a silence so loud she can't ignore it. What you're seeing now isn't coincidence, it's reaction. She's not becoming you. She's chasing the version of herself she thinks might get your attention again. But there's a difference between growth and mimicry. A man rooted in Stoic values knows that true change isn't loud. It doesn't show off or try to prove anything. It's quiet. It's consistent. It's earned. So, don't be fooled by the surface. Don't mistake familiar habits for shared vision. Ask yourself, does this feel authentic or does it feel like performance? Because here's the deeper test. Are you willing to stay the course even when she starts mirroring your evolution? Can you hold the line, not as punishment, but as a way of protecting your peace? As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And I'd add, not to be swayed by old attachments either. When you stay disciplined, when you hold your values even as she tries to re-enter your orbit, that's when you know no contact is working. You're no longer chasing her approval. You're standing in your own light. And now, she's the one squinting to see it. Number 7. She seems a little lost. Here's the real twist. Your growth starts to make her insecure. The man who used to beg, who used to send long messages trying to explain, who waited for her to change her mind, he's not here anymore. And she can feel that absence, not just physically, but energetically. Your presence is no longer available to her on demand. And that shakes her, not because you were weak, but because now you're unavailable in a way she never expected. She starts second-guessing herself. You'll notice it in subtle shifts. Maybe she posts vague quotes about self-reflection. Maybe she brings up the past, but only the good parts. She asks mutual friends how you're doing, or comments on things she never cared about before. Your routine, your goals, even your silence. She's not reaching out clearly because her pride won't let her. But her confusion, her hesitation, that tells the story. And you're grounded, centered, calm. That calm, that composure, it's power. Not the kind that needs to raise its voice or prove a point. It's Stoic power, the kind that comes from being at peace with yourself. You're not reacting. You're not rushing to fix anything. You're simply living with intention, guided by what serves your values, not your impulses. You've become like a rock in the river, unmoved, while everything around you stirs. That's what Stoicism teaches. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." That's you now, a man who doesn't flinch at uncertainty, a man who's not waiting for her to come back, but who knows that if she does, he'll decide if she fits into the life he's now building, not the other way around. No contact is working, not because it manipulates her emotions, but because it exposes them. It shows her what life feels like without your energy constantly reassuring her. And in that space of silence, she starts to feel lost, because for the first time, she realizes you're no longer the one chasing. You're not even circling back. You're simply becoming the man she always thought she had time to figure out. And now, that clock is ticking. Take a second and really sit with this. You've changed. You're not the man who used to chase, explain, or wait around. And now that she's sensing that shift, the energy between you is no longer the same. That's powerful. That's growth. So before we move on, I want to hear from you. What part of this hits home? Drop a comment, or just type, "I choose calm over chaos." Your reflection might help someone else stay grounded too. Let's keep going, because what comes next might surprise you. Number 8. People start dropping hints. She was asking about you. She said she misses the old times. She's been a bit off lately. They don't say it by chance. It's designed to get back to you. This is one of the most subtle and revealing signs that no contact is working. When people around you start casually mentioning her name, it's not just gossip. It's calculated. It's her way of testing the waters without diving in. Maybe she's too proud to reach out directly. Maybe she doesn't know how to face the silence she once thought she could handle. So, what does she do? She sends her curiosity through other people, hoping it lands in your ears and stirs something inside you. It could be a mutual friend saying, "She saw your story and smiled." Or someone telling you, "She brought up that memory from your trip together." And you'll notice, they always leave just enough unsaid. It's vague on purpose. It plants the seed. The question is, will you water it? But the man who's grounded, who's practiced the discipline of no contact, not as a tactic, but as a way to reclaim his power, doesn't chase echoes. You don't respond to second-hand emotions. You've outgrown the need to decode every whisper. Because here's what you've learned. Not everything that sounds like interest is meant to lead to action. Some people miss you, but only when they realize they can't reach you. And some of them don't want you back. They just want the version of you who needed them. Stoicism teaches us to evaluate what enters our minds, not just react to it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." When someone says, "She's been asking about you," it only holds power if you give it power. But if you view it through the lens of growth, you realize it's not about her anymore. It's about who you are becoming in her absence. And you? You're not the same man who once waited for validation through someone else's words. You're not moved by passive signals. You're moved by purpose. The same purpose that made you choose silence. The same discipline that's building a version of you who no longer needs to be needed. So, when the hints come, because they will come, let them pass. Let them bounce off your peace, like rain off stone. You're not ignoring her to punish her. You're honoring yourself because you finally understand your worth. And that, my brother, is the clearest sign that no contact is working. Number 9. She tries to get a reaction. She might post with someone new, make indirect comments, pretend like she's unbothered. Maybe it's a carefully staged photo with a guy's arm in the frame. Nothing obvious, just enough to make you wonder. Or she reposts a song about moving on with a smirk in the caption. To anyone else, it's just content. But to you, it feels like a message. And that's because it is. A quiet attempt to get under your skin, to wake the version of you who used to respond instantly, even emotionally. But when no contact is really working, it's not what she does that matters. It's how you don't react. That's what shakes her. She expected curiosity, a little jealousy, maybe even a late-night message. But instead, silence. Not cold, not cruel, just still. And in that stillness, she realizes something has shifted. You've stopped playing the game. You're not baited by drama. You're not chasing shadows. You're not dancing to a rhythm she controls. And here's where Stoicism becomes your strongest ally. A man who has trained himself to remain composed under pressure doesn't break his peace just to prove a point. He doesn't need to clap back or compete. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So you don't react. You observe. You maintain your ground, not out of spite, but out of respect for your own path. Think about this. The real test of no contact isn't whether she reaches out. It's whether you remain centered when she tries to trigger a reaction. Because that moment when you feel tempted to reply, to defend yourself, to show her she didn't win, that's when your discipline is forged. That's where your silence becomes a statement louder than any reply. She's trying to see if she still has power over you. But the man who's rooted in purpose, not performance, doesn't flinch when the spotlight turns his way. He's already walked through the noise, through the longing, through the doubt, and chosen himself. Take a moment and think, who really holds the power now? The one trying to trigger you, or the one who stays grounded? If this hit home, drop a comment, or just type, "My silence speaks louder now." And if you're finding value in this, give it a like. It helps spread the message to others walking the same path. Let's keep going. Number 10. She finally reaches out. This is the moment it becomes crystal clear. She reaches out. Maybe it's direct, "Hey, how have you been?" Maybe it's vague, "Saw something that reminded me of you." Or maybe it's disguised as a casual check-in, "Did you ever finish that project?" But either way, it comes. And for the first time, you don't feel the urge to scramble for a reply. You don't light up with unrealistic hope. You don't pace around wondering what it means. You feel something far more powerful: stillness. Because no contact didn't just change her behavior, it changed you. That time apart wasn't about getting her back. It was about getting you back, about reconnecting with your values, your vision, your purpose. You began to move with intention, not emotion. To focus on becoming a man who walks forward, not one who waits by the door for someone who left. Now that she reaches out, it doesn't shake you. It centers you even more. Why? Because you're no longer the man who needs closure, explanation, or even validation. That old version of you, the one who chased, who begged for clarity, who feared silence, that man evolved in the fire of discipline and self-respect. And here's the Stoic truth: not every message deserves a reply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In the same way, if her return doesn't align with truth, growth, and respect, it doesn't need to be welcomed. Some returns are just a test, a loop disguised as a sign, a whisper from the past, trying to see if you've really grown beyond it. So now, when her name flashes across your screen, it's no longer about what she wants. It's about what you allow. Do her words match her actions? Has her absence turned into reflection, or just regret? These are questions a Stoic man considers, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. He doesn't let nostalgia rewrite the past. He doesn't mistake attention for intention. You sit with it, you reflect, and you may reply, or you may not. But either way, it's not out of need, it's out of choice. And that, brother, is how you know no contact is working. Not because she finally reached out, but because you no longer need her to. So if you've been wondering whether no contact is actually working, don't just look at her. Look at you. Are you calmer, clearer, stronger? Because when a man starts to master his emotions, protect his peace, and move with purpose, the world takes notice. Especially the one who thought you'd always be there. Let her feel your absence. Let her meet the version of you that grew in the dark, alone, but not broken. That's the real power of no contact. If this message resonated with you, brother, do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and tell me which sign hit hardest. Or just type, "I choose peace over chaos," to lock it in. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and check out the videos on screen. They're packed with lessons that'll keep you grounded, focused, and walking your Stoic path. Stay disciplined, stay powerful, and I'll see you in the next one.